Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. All right, so we are on Hadith number 72. Yeah, because we never came back and my son was supposed to memorize that and he still hasn't memorized 71. All right, so Hadith number 72, different ways to give charity. All right, and this is, of course, something that we've been going over, and No, because we'll just read it over the ice cream, inshallah. Did you memorize it? You. 71.
Oh, I know like you too.
Huh?
Like 3/4.
So you didn't memorize it. You stand up and go memorize it. Say, you already said it like every time. I know you memorized it.
I know.
Has anybody else memorized it?
At the ice cream shop.
All right. So this whole thing about different ways to give charity is something that we've been going over in the chapters of Al-Adab al-Mufrad, which is about the ma'ruf. Every form of ma'ruf is what? Sadaqah. So every form of good is charity, either to yourself or to the other people. Anything that you do of good is a charity. All right. So this hadith is reported on Abi Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam kullu salama min an-nasi alayhi sadaqatun كل يوم تطلع فيه الشمس. So he said that what? He said that every joint, كل سلامة من الناس, every joint of the person عليه صدقة. So he has to give sadaqah for what? For every joint, every mafsal, every joint that he has. كل يوم تطلع فيه الشمس, in which the sun rises. So every day that the sun rises and he's alive, then he has to give this sadaqah. And he said, "Ta'dilu bayna al-ithnayni sadaqah." And he said to be doing justice, to be just between two people. What does that mean?
Is it like fixing?
It could be islah baynahuma. If they're arguing and fighting, and you come in and you judge between them and bring justice between the two, to keep them from fighting. Or whatever the case may be, if they're disagreeing and having problems and arguments, to solve the arguments and to judge between them and then get them to go back to the truth. All right, if one feels like he's being oppressed and the other, so you fix the situation between them. All right, ta'dilu bayna al-ithnayni sadaqah. All right, wa tu'inu rajula fi dabatihi, and to help a person get onto his what? To his riding animal, the animal that he's riding, to help him to get up on the animal. فَتَحْمِلُهُ عَلَيْهَا, so that you help him to get up if he's having trouble getting up. أَوْ تَرْفَعُ لَهُ عَلَيْهَا مَتَاعَهُ صَدَقَةً, or if he has no problem getting up, but you can help him to grab his things and give him his things, because obviously he might have difficulty if he has bags to get up and grab the bags and then get on a horse or a donkey or something. So you either help him get on that animal, or at the very least you grab his things and help him to lift his things up on to the animal. So it's similar to that. If you see like a person, for example, trying to load things up into a car, like luggage and things that are very heavy, obviously, because you're not going to see somebody getting on his horse in front of their house, right? So, you might if you live out in the countryside, but not in Fresno, right? So, but you might see a neighbor lifting heavy things to put them into the car. So what do? You go in and help them, obviously if you knew that the person would like to help, because some people, they get very, rude if you try to help them. But, if you see that the person is accepting of it, you go and say, here, I'm going to just assist you. And you help them to load the things up into the house. I mean, even if they're moving, you see the person moving and they got the U-Haul truck and you see like he's alone and he's moving all this stuff, you go and help him, even if he's a kafir, because it's your neighbor and it's a form of sadaqah, inshallah, and it's you get the reward for it regardless. So he said after that, he said, وَالْكَلِمَةُ الطَّيِّبَةُ صَدَقَةٌ, and he says speaking a good word is what? Sadaqah, because that's what a mu'min does. A mu'min, he speaks good words to the people, and that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Tafa'al bil khair ish tajidu." If tafa'al bil khair, tafa'al bil khair. I can't even get the words out now. My throat's so messed up. What does that mean?
Think of the good that will happen.
Yeah, like speak good, and it will happen. So instead of going up to a person and saying, "Dude, you're stupid," but to say something good to him, say it in a good way. Like, for example, if a person's sick, you don't go to him and say, "Oh my God, man, you look like you're about to die," right? You would depress him, and you can even make him become sicker because he'll start to, become self-conscious of what you just said. But if you go to the person and say, "MashaAllah, man, you're looking good, you're looking better," even if he's not, but you're saying this to do what? Make him feel good. And he'll start to feel better, and maybe by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he starts to get better. So you say good things to the people. You don't, this is from the trace of the kuffar that they do what? Huh? Yeah, they insult each other. You go, all you got to do is just go through social media and look. They sit there and call each other what? Like bad names. And this is supposed to be funny, and it's supposed to be a joke, but as Muslims, no. When we speak to each other, we should say things to each other that raises us up and makes us, and if we don't do this, I mean, we should, sometimes I might joke around with my kids, point this out. You say, "Hey, akhi, remember, tafa'al bil khair tajidu," because, if you keep telling people, like, even if you're joking with them, like, "Oh, man, come on, man, you're so stupid." What happens is you keep saying that to the person, then what happens? No, it's not that they don't like it. They start to believe it. They start to believe it. And he might not be stupid. He might be way smarter than any one of us. But he'll start to believe it, and then he'll start to act stupid. Because that's what he believes it now. He believes it. So he starts to think like, no, there's no way I can get knowledge. I can't learn. I'm stupid. Because you keep saying these things. But if you keep trying to say good things to the person, and also, kalimat tayyiba from advice, reminding them to follow the sunnah, reminding them to obey, for the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything. So this is just a broad, very broad term. وَبِكُلِّ خَطْوَةٍ تَمْشِيهَا إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ صَدَقَةٍ. And every footstep that you take towards the salat is what?
Sadaqah.
Is sadaqah. And that's why there was one of the Sahaba, they said, مَا كُنْتَ عَارِفْ أَنِي رَجُلٌ أَبْعَدْ مِنَ الْمَسْجِدِ مِنْهُ. He said, there was one Sahabi who used to walk to the masjid. He said, I didn't know anybody that lived further from the masjid than him. And so they went to him and they told him, and said, "Why don't you get a house that's closer to the masjid?" And he refused. He said, "Because I want this written. I want every single footstep, that's written, because of that." So he chose to walk that far distance just to go to the masjid, just to have that written for him. And then the Prophet ﷺ said to him, he said, "Well, he got exactly what he's getting exactly what he desired. What he wanted, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written that for him. Every footstep that he has khair." So he said, after that, he said, وَتَمِيطُ الْأَذَىٰ عَنَ طَرِيقِ صَدَقَةٍ. And what does that mean? We just took that in Adab al-Mufrad, huh?
To remove harm from the road of sadaqah.
All right. And as we talked about, it's al-ma'nawiyya wal-hissiyya. Hissiyya is something physical, like you actually removing a nail, a branch, pieces of glass, anything that can cause harm. Al-ma'nawiyya, and what? Bid'ah, shirk, shubuhat. You're removing this from the tariq of the servants, that they can learn their deen and practice their deen without these harms in the pathways. And Allah knows best.